The Exorcist TV series. Are we going to see Reagan again? No clue. Are we going to go back to Georgetown? No. Looks like we've broken away from that and now focusing on a group home in Washington.
And maybe a fresh start is what this series needs. Hey YouTubers, welcome back to my Exorcist reviews. In this review we are going to examine Season 2, Episodes 1 through 5. For those who have not seen any or all the episodes mentioned, know that there will be spoilers. It didn't look like Fox was going to continue their Exorcist series. At least that was my impression. So far, Season 2 plays out more like Season 1 should have, as the next chapter to the Blatty story of 40 years ago, without relating so hard to the source material and or reinventing it. Let's examine what Season 2 has to offer. In a matter of 4 episodes, our dynamic duo finds themselves going from Montana to Seattle to Knockburn Island, Washington. Led by Father Tomas's mysterious visions. Are these visions a gift or a curse? Things begin in Jefferson County with the attempted exorcisms of the local sheriff's wife. Somehow Jordy and Cindy are familiar with the mysterious church that Tomas sees in his head, a church they attended 10 years ago, a church that stands dilapidated somewhere on Knockburn Island. Which brings us to resident Andrew Kim and his household of foster children. Like Cindy, Andrew has experienced loss and may be grieving in his own way. By episode 2, we reflect back on Father Bennett and the demonic corruption of the church. Unlike Season 1, this subplot doesn't compete with the main storyline and has a greater potential. Last season's Kill the Pope storyline fell flat and went nowhere. Episode 3 has Tomas and Marcus stop in Seattle to investigate the possible possession of a young girl. It ends up being a lesson for Father Tomas and his pride. It also reflects on repercussions from Season 1, a crazy mom influenced by Chris McNeil's book, The Devil in My Daughter. This is the kind of influence the Blatty material should have been for Season 1, subtle and reflecting. The daughter Harper is later taken into Andrew Kim's foster home by Episode 4. In the meantime, the house on the island has had its share of strange occurrences, from infested fruit, a mutated birth, and kamikaze crows. Tomas could sense something was wrong the minute he set his foot on the island dock. Everything that has happened so far has led him here. Let's look at the foster household and what we know so far. Andy presently runs the house alone, once along with his late wife Nicole. The house belonged to her great Aunt Peggy. Besides grieving and reflecting on the past, he's responsible for the welfare of 5 children. Or is it 4? Early on, he was afraid that his foster home would be shut down by his visiting friend and social worker, Rose Cooper. These two had the potential to become a couple a long time ago, but it didn't quite work out that way. Back in his college days, Andy was going to be a stockbroker until a girl convinced him to change his major from business to psychology. Was that girl Rose Cooper? Rose comes to Andrew's foster home to objectively observe. Although there's been a few strange occurrences during her stay, she doesn't seem willing to break up a loving home. After all, she brought Harper to the house with the confidence that the young girl would be safe. Eventually, Rose becomes concerned about Andy and finds something unsettling in the house. It's difficult to know how long each child has lived with Andy. Verity is the oldest of the children, turning 18 in 3 months. She's had a difficult life, which includes destructive behaviors, 3 suicide attempts, and staying in a religious camp that took on torturous tactics to pray the gay away. She appears highly intelligent, a nonconformist and agnostic. Underneath it all, she's very caring. Does Verity live up to her name? Verity is a virtue name meaning truth. In Episode 5, Verity helps Andy realize the truth about one of the other children. Shelby may be the second oldest in the group. Unlike Verity, he believes in God and is very spiritual. this being something that had saved him from an ill-fated childhood. In episode 5, He shares with Verity that he was once a 2-pound 4-ounce methadone baby. His faith kept him from following his real family's tragic path. Like Tomas, Shelby seems very sensitive to the happenings on the island and its evil presence. Might Shelby become an exorcist in the years to come? David Truck Johnson is a big boy with the mentality of a child, who inadvertently acquires his nickname from his trunk full of toys. He's eager to please, easily upset, has low self-esteem, loves to eat, and seems to have a sleepwalking disorder. He's highly susceptible and becomes an easy target for the island entity as it has him attack Verity in episode 5. Truck shares a room with Caleb, our visually impaired member of the family. Early in episode 1, he tries to become one of the group by taking on the fairly dangerous rite of passage, standing on the cover of the Island Witch well. This becomes an issue and an incident as Caleb returns to the well later that night. He thought it was Verity that took him there, but why would she? Harper is the newest addition to the household, being introduced in episode 3. Upon her arrival, Verity takes her under her wing, promising that no one would hurt her, that she is safe. Harper seems to adjust to her surroundings rather quickly, wanting to stay at the home, but whatever dwells there is not open to accept Harper into the family. This brings us to Grace. Grace appears to be the youngest of the foster children and an enigma. She's introduced in episode 1 as Andy's agoraphobic, vulnerable child, living in the room upstairs. While the other children are attending school off island, Andrew takes the time to work with Grace and homeschools her. Grace doesn't seem to interact with the other children, or does she? With the upcoming arrival of Harper in episode 4, Grace is reluctant in having her join their family. Is Harper a threat to Grace? Grace wants to be Andy's favorite, telling him that they could be together forever. Had it not been for Verity in episode 5, Andy may never have realized that Grace was all in his head. For the viewer, the evidence was there since episode 1.
And this being the biggest
And we're
hint.
gonna find him, but you're not going alone. Shelby, go with her. Truck, you're with me.
By episode 2 and episode 3, it's easy to realize that there are no photos that include Grace. This may indicate that she arrived after
This place
Nicole.
is like a shrine to Nicole.
Am I gonna have to give up my room?
Yes, you're gonna have to share your room.
Viewers' suspicions may have been shaken as we see Grace appearing among the other
As long as
children,
Harper is under this
but rest
roof,
assured, no one other than Andy can see
good families
Grace.
only get bigger. Am I clear? I said, are we clear on that?
So what do we know so far? The church is infested and the Vatican is compromised. Father Bennett is losing associates but may be gaining allies. His new acquaintance, Mouse, has been using an integrated exorcist, Dolores Navarra, as a source to locate the other corrupted. Their next stop, find Maria Walters in Chicago. Judging by Tomas's latest vision, the Knockburn Island demon has been there a long time. Since it failed to reach Andrew through Grace, it makes a second attempt by appearing as Nicole. Perhaps Grace didn't live up to her name. Grace is a virtue name meaning God's favor. In the episodes to come, perhaps several questions will be answered.